Welcome to the Jerletha McDonald Show, where we discuss everything childcare and provide a platform for early educators to shine. I'm Jerletha McDonald, your host, and today I have with me my special friend and colleague, Meghan Green. As you know, for the month of February, I've been celebrating Black early childhood educators who are doing phenomenal work in the field of early care and education, and Meghan is one. And so, welcome, Meghan. How are you doing today?
I'm well, Jerletha. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming. So, Meghan, tell us a little bit about yourself. Why did you get into the field of early care and education?
So I have been a teacher for about almost 15 years now. And so I started off as an anthropologist, but wanted to do something that was a little bit more practical. And so I'd always loved working with children. And so I started off as a pre-K teacher assistant in Dallas, and then moved up to work with children a little bit older, 7 and 8 years old. But I just really love seeing that curiosity and that spark in young children.
Yes. And so you are a third grade teacher, correct?
I am.
Yes. And so tell us about it. So, people say, oh, third grade, that's still not early childhood. But can you just tell us a little bit about that background? Where does early childhood start and begin for people who don't know?
Right. And so according to NACE, right, early childhood is defined as ages birth to age 8. And so what I didn't know, I think when I first started, was that all of my colleagues in elementary schools, pre-K all the way up to third grade, we are all early childhood educators. So that's it. Those same theories of child development, developmentally appropriate practice, all of that still applies to our babies who are in elementary schools.
Yes, and I just want to make that point out. So, yes, we're still dealing with early childhood education in elementary, and so I just want to put that out there and another reason why I want to put that out there, because some people still want to get into the fields, but in different roles and different capacities. And so the point I want to make is that you are a teacher in an elementary school. So, and you're still in the field of early care and education. And so that's the point I'm trying to make to other women out there who are thinking about getting in the field in different avenues. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And so, Meghan, okay, who in Black history inspired you and why?
So Jerletha, I think my shero in Black history is Audre Lorde. And so Audre Lorde she was a poet, first of all. She was an educator, she was a mother. And during the 70s and 80s, really primarily, she spoke a lot about the ways in which Black folks move and how our different identities kind of impact how we move in the world. So how being Black impacts us, how being women impacts us, how class can impact us. So even within, the liberation movements of the time, there was still some elements of classism because they were middle class Black folks who maybe weren't as familiar with the struggles of working class Black folks. And so Audre Lorde really spoke to the ways in which all of these intersections of identity, how that impacts how you move for freedom.
Oh, wow. That is wonderful. That is wonderful. And I cannot wait to research more myself on her. And so, I forgot to ask you started a brand new consulting agency. Could you tell us a little bit about that? Combahee, right?
Yes, ma'am. So Combahee Educational Consulting. And so the name itself is just kind of an ode to Black feminists and womanism, and this idea that unless those of us who are like the most marginalized, unless they get free, then nobody in our community is free. And so my company really focuses on providing anti-bias and anti-racist trainings for early childhood and elementary educators. Because I think a lot of times when we hear anti-bias or anti-racism, folks think of older children. So they're thinking of high school and up. And people get a little nervous when it comes time to have conversations, let's say about race or gender with young children. But there's so much work that has been done in this field over the last, I'd say 20 to 30 years. But so my consulting company really provides trainings. We provide like one-on-one and small group coaching for early childhood educators who want to have those conversations. They just don't maybe know where to start.
Yeah, and that's another thing. So I'm just so excited because you're doing so many different things, right? And so, to that young early childhood entrepreneur, do you see the vast majority of things that you can do? I know you've been following this series, but do you see the different career paths and angles that you can do and go into this field? Now, Meghan, she's also a teacher, and now she is a consultant as well.
So I am in my final year of my doctoral program at Texas A&M University in Commerce, and so I'm studying the lives of Black women early childhood educators. So my dissertation is gonna be about the lived experiences of Black women early childhood educators, and how do we bring ourselves into our classrooms? How do we bring ourselves into our child care centers? How are we impacted by the fact that we had to find childcare for our own children, and how did that maybe lead you down the path of opening your own business? But I'm really curious to kind of focus in on those lived experiences.
Yes, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to read it once you're finished writing your dissertation as well. What advice would you give to an up and coming Black early childhood professional, one who's already in the field thinking about expanding her career, moving to the next level, or doing something different, or one who's just thinking like, you know what, I think I want to get into the field of early care education? What advice would you give them?
I think my biggest advice would be to lean on your community, leverage your community. So this idea of networking, I think sometimes we kind of work and we are on our grind, right? We're hustling and we're just kind of focused on what it is that we're doing, and that's good. But knowing that there are other folks who are there who can provide you support, who can open some doors. All it takes is one introduction to someone, to get a new opportunity. So to really lean on your community, build community with other people who are doing what you're doing, but also maybe some people, thinking outside the box for people
Yes.
who aren't doing exactly what you're doing, but who can give you support.
Yes, that is great advice, especially for one who's thinking about getting into business for themselves, right? Because this is a business. At the end of the day, this is a business, and we need our community. You guys will be able to find all of Meghan's information, how you can contact her, contract her with her new company, Combahi, and or just learn more information about what Meghan does and what she has to offer our community. And so thank you for tuning in to the Jerletha McDonald Show, where we discuss everything childcare and provide a platform for early educators to shine. I'm your host, Jerletha McDonald, and this is my dear friend, Meghan Green. And thank you guys, and see you soon. Bye. The Jerletha McDonald Show is brought to you by M. Group and Daycare Time Solutions.